May 1973, Sandown, Isle of Wight, a sleepy coastal town known mostly for family holidays and gentle seaside breezes. Two children playing near a quiet golf course suddenly freeze as laughter echoes from beneath a footridge. A playful yet unsettling sound that doesn't belong. From the shadows emerges an impossibly tall figure, oddly dressed in a colorful clown-like costume, its movements stiff and unnatural. Eyewitnesses later describe an overwhelming sense of disorientation, a surreal confusion as if reality itself had bent. The clown, introducing itself simply as Sam, communicated with the children in an eerily polite voice, speaking calmly, yet the words felt strangely detached, almost rehearsed. When the children returned home, their anxious accounts were dismissed by adults as imaginative tales, yet their fear was too vivid to be mere fantasy. As the town whispered nervously about this inexplicable encounter, the question lingered heavily in the minds of residents. Was the bizarre visitor something benignly misunderstood, or a sinister presence whose intentions remain hidden in shadow? To unravel the chilling truth behind what became known as the Sandown Clown Incident, we must carefully revisit the exact moment ordinary life fractured into unexplainable terror. The tranquility before terror. Life on the Isle of Wight moves slowly, paced by tides and quiet routines. Sandown, a tranquil seaside village on the island's eastern coast, was known mainly for its scenic beaches and relaxed atmosphere. Visitors came seeking peace, not intrigue. Locals greeted tourists warmly, but remained largely private, content with their familiar, gentle rhythms. Most villagers spent their days quietly working or enjoying leisurely walks along coastal paths, unaware that soon their sleepy community would become famous for reasons they never anticipated. Among Sundown's residents was Faye, a bright 7-year-old girl known around town for her boundless curiosity, quick wit, and imaginative storytelling. Often seen exploring the marshlands or collecting seashells along the shoreline, Faye was adventurous yet sensible, a child trusted to wander the familiar surroundings safely. With her was an equally curious boy of similar age, her constant companion and fellow adventurer. Together, the two embodied the innocence and joy of small-town childhood, carefree, fearless, and blissfully unaware of the unsettling encounter that awaited them. Yet, beneath this peaceful exterior, subtle signs of unease had quietly begun to surface. Villagers started murmuring about unusual occurrences, odd lights silently drifting across the marshes, strange mechanical humming heard near Lake Common at dusk, and brief interruptions in radio signals, all dismissed quickly as harmless oddities or tricks of imagination. Even Faye's father, Mr. Y, a practical and respected community member known for his skeptical approach, overheard neighbors casually discuss these peculiar events with mild amusement rather than genuine concern. However, beneath the calm facade of village life, these quiet whispers grew subtly more frequent, unnoticed, yet accumulating. Residents joked uneasily, assuring themselves that it was merely superstition, local pranks, or simply misunderstandings exaggerated through gossip. None truly believed such trivial oddities foretold anything unusual, but beneath this reassuring surface, a quiet uncertainty had taken hold, like a gentle but persistent unease felt by those who refused to admit their worry aloud. Little did the people of Sandown know their peaceful existence was on the brink of disruption. An encounter awaited Faye and her friend that would thrust this sleepy community into decades of mystery and unanswered questions. The clown beneath the bridge. They moved quietly along the familiar path by the golf course, their footsteps muffled by soft grass and earth, unaware that their ordinary adventure was about to take an inexplicable turn. The afternoon had drifted gently toward early evening, the sky slowly deepening to a muted twilight hue. Around them, a typical calm prevailed, broken only by distant sounds of life from the village and occasional birds calling softly in nearby trees. Then came the sudden disruption, an oddly mechanical siren-like wailing echoing faintly through the tranquil air. It was an unsettling sound, almost human, yet strangely distorted, drawing the children's attention irresistibly toward the swampy area bordering Lake Common. Faye exchanged a cautious glance with her friend, curiosity quickly overtaking their initial hesitation. Without speaking, they moved quietly closer to the source of the peculiar sound, unaware that they were crossing a threshold from the familiar into the utterly bizarre. As they neared the wooden footbridge, the air suddenly grew heavy and still, charged with inexplicable tension that neither child could yet comprehend. A rustling beneath the bridge broke the silence, followed by the most improbable sight either had ever witnessed. Emerging awkwardly into view was a figure nearly 7 feet tall, dressed in vivid clothing that immediately evoked the unsettling image of a clown. But this was no ordinary clown. Its movements were stiff, almost mechanical, as though each motion required deliberate effort. Its face appeared more mask-like than human, painted oddly with triangle-shaped eyes, a static yellow mouth, and a square, unnaturally brown nose. Paralyzed by a mix of awe and terror, Faye later vividly recalled feeling her heartbeat quicken, her legs momentarily frozen in place, unable to move or scream. Her friend described a similar reaction, a powerful yet surreal sense of immobility, as though their bodies refused to cooperate. In a voice eerily blending warmth with artificiality, the being identified itself simply as Sam. Its introduction strangely polite, yet detached. The children, still frightened but increasingly fascinated, listened as the bizarre figure invited them into a hidden metallic hut concealed among the trees. Inside Sam's hut, reality seemed to bend even further. Strange blue-green patterns illuminated its walls. Dials flickered silently, and wooden furniture appeared oddly misplaced in the futuristic interior. But what disturbed the children most deeply was Sam's unnatural behavior. Casually, it demonstrated a grotesque trick, effortlessly inserting berries into its ear and producing them impossibly from its eye socket before calmly eating them. A disturbing display that defied logic and human anatomy alike. The surreal encounter lasted mere minutes, but felt timeless to the two children. Abruptly, Sam bid them farewell, vanishing back into the darkening marshes, leaving Faye and her friends standing dazed and bewildered at the edge of their ordinary world. Yet the questions remained. What exactly had they witnessed beneath the bridge? A misunderstood prankster? An elaborate hoax? Or had their brief meeting exposed them to a genuinely alien presence concealed within their quiet, unsuspecting community? To truly begin unraveling this enduring mystery, we must carefully examine every unsettling clue and contradiction left behind, because the truth might still be waiting, hidden carefully in the memories of two terrified children. What really happened in Sandown? When Faye and her friend finally returned home, visibly shaken and emotionally disturbed, their bizarre story quickly spread throughout their quiet village. Initial reactions were predictably skeptical. Local adults brushed off the children's vivid account as the exaggerated imagination of bored youngsters, or perhaps a prank taken too far. Yet, despite the initial dismissal, the detailed consistency of their accounts troubled some residents. This wasn't simply a childish fantasy. The specifics were disturbingly precise, detailed, and remarkably consistent. Local newspapers initially ignored the incident, reluctant to report what sounded like a mere children's tale. However, as whispers grew louder in Sandown, word of this strange encounter eventually reached members of the British UFO Research Association, BUFORA. Upon investigation, BUFORA found no clear physical evidence to either confirm or definitively refute the children's claims. There were no unusual radiation traces, footprints, or physical artifacts left behind, but the children's accounts matched exactly, down to unsettling specifics about the appearance and behavior of Sam. The town quickly divided itself into quiet factions. Some residents, compelled by the children's sincerity, were open-minded enough to suspect something genuinely inexplicable had occurred. Others dismissed it harshly, attributing the event to pranksters or even labeling it a hoax created by the children's vivid imaginations. Faye's father, initially skeptical, found himself gradually convinced of the authenticity of his daughter's account due to her genuine emotional distress. Meanwhile, school officials and local authorities labeled the story simply as fantasy, closing their brief investigation without official acknowledgement. Yet contradictions soon emerged. Some skeptics pointed to a lack of concrete physical evidence as a key reason to dismiss the encounter entirely. No trace of the metallic hut was ever found, and official records indicated no anomalies reported in the area. On the other hand, UFO researchers argued the remarkable consistency of the children's descriptions was difficult to fabricate, especially given their ages. Experts further cited similar international incidents involving beings with clown-like appearances or unusual humanoid figures, suggesting patterns beyond mere coincidence. Psychologists added another layer of complexity. Could this incident reflect a form of shared hallucination, what experts sometimes refer to as folie à deux, or might it be explained as a psychological coping mechanism in response to trauma or confusion caused by another unrelated event? Official explanations remained elusive. Police showed minimal interest, and local authorities quietly let the matter fade, uncomfortable with such puzzling events staining the town's reputation. As time passed, the incident gradually sank into local legend, a cautionary tale whispered quietly, half believed, half dismissed, yet never fully forgotten. Yet the ambiguity endures. What exactly happened to those children on that seemingly ordinary afternoon? Could it truly have been an encounter with something genuinely extraterrestrial or paranormal, or were rational explanations missed in the quick rush to dismiss her claims? To better understand this complex and unsettling incident, we must now carefully consider the lasting effects. What happens when something extraordinary goes unresolved, leaving lingering doubt and unanswered questions haunting those involved? The unsolved mystery. To this day, the Sandown Clown Incident remains one of the most perplexing and disturbing encounters ever recorded. Despite decades of quiet speculation and fragmented discussions, no official explanation fully accounts for the children's bizarre, yet deeply consistent testimonies. The unsettling behavior of the entity known as Sam, or the subtle unease that never entirely faded from the community. Faye, now grown, has repeatedly expressed discomfort whenever recalling that peculiar day, her voice tinged with lingering fear, as though something inexplicable still haunts her memories. Her friend, similarly troubled, has maintained a cautious silence, never quite comfortable revisiting the encounter that disrupted their innocent childhood. The community itself remains quietly divided. Some residents dismiss it as a mere local legend or exaggerated childhood fantasy, while others secretly suspect the incident was genuinely extraordinary, quietly holding on to a cautious belief in something beyond rational explanation. Was Sam an elaborate prankster concealed beneath bizarre attire, a misunderstood traveler, or perhaps an entity genuinely beyond our current understanding? Could the truth be simpler, obscured by decades of speculation? Or does this event hint at realities we're not prepared to fully acknowledge? Was the Sandown Clown Incident truly an encounter with an entity beyond our understanding? Or could it have been an elaborate hoax misunderstood by frightened children? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below.